Okay, so I'm really excited today to show you how to make an omelet that we're going to be using tofu for as the base. You can skip the eggs and you can still have your omelet. This recipe calls for 1/2 cup of our firm tofu that you can get in the refrigerated section, 1/4 cup of our brown rice flour, 1/2 cup of our raw cashews, 1 teaspoon of our sea salt, 1/8 teaspoon of our turmeric, and 1 teaspoon of our onion powder, and 1/2 cup of our filtered water. I'm going to be stuffing my omelet with things that you would normally have an omelet with. So we'll be using red bell pepper, some of our green onion, some garlic that I'm actually going to put into the base, some of our mushrooms, which are really high in vitamin D, and some olives. But feel free to get creative, add some spinach, you can add some artichoke hearts. It's really to your taste. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a high-speed blender to blend all of these ingredients first, except for my vegetables that I'll stuff with my omelet, and then we'll be frying it on our skillet that's non-stick. So I like my high-speed blender. I love the Vitamix. I'm going to be putting in my tofu and my water, and then my flour, and my garlic clove, which is going to give it a nice little punch, my teaspoon of salt, and we'll be using our turmeric, which is going to give us a beautiful color, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric. And it's, again, high in anti-inflammatory properties, so make sure you always add your turmeric to your foods. But in our case, it acts as two things. It's going to give us anti-inflammatory, and it's going to turn us, our omelet into a beautiful omelet color. And then we're going to be adding our teaspoon of our onion powder. So we're going to blend this up nice and thick until it's nice and creamy. Okay, so our omelet batter is done, and you can see it really does look like a scrambled egg. You know, the kind you used to scramble with the egg? This is what our omelet batter looks like, and it looks beautiful. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the while this sets a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and cut up some of the vegetables that I want inside my omelet. I'm going to use some green onion because it's really just a great thing to add. Onions are very pungent in flavor, but they're also very healthy. So we want to go ahead and add those. I'm cutting my my green onion ends off. We don't want to have any brown, and we want to have some pretty color in there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and slice these in how much ever you want, your desired onion addition. A lot of people like onion, some people don't. So I'm going to add just a few for color. And then I'm going to take some red bell pepper, which is great for vitamin C. And you could add yellow or orange. I just cut the top off, and then what I do is I just take out the seeds. And then what you're left with is all your seeds that are empty. And then I'm going to cut these into little rings. And those are how you get your beautiful red bell pepper florets. This goes great on a tray of vegetables. It's very beautiful. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and just cut these into little cubes. That's a quick way to cube your red bell pepper. Okay. And once that's done, I only want a few. I don't want too many for my filling. And I'm going to have my nice olives too that I'll add. And I'll add some mushrooms. And mushrooms are a great source of vitamin D in the vegetable kingdom, so that's good. These are button mushrooms. Different mushrooms are different according to their, I call it their food chain. You have some mushrooms that are higher on the food chain than others. One of the best mushrooms is a reishi mushroom, and a maitake mushroom, and a shiitake. Those are very, very high in nutrients. So they're like what we would call medicinal mushrooms. But these mushrooms are just button mushrooms, and we mostly use them for cooking. Okay, so I have my mushrooms cut up here, and I have my skillet, non-stick skillet, heated up to about 250 or 300. And I'm going to go ahead and just pour my batter into my skillet, like you would kind of a scrambled egg. And we're going to make 2 of them. All right, and we're going to let those cook up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add my little fillings to my omelet. Add my green onion, and my red bell pepper. And some people like to add, artichoke hearts, which would be gorgeous. And you could add some basil, which would be so delicious. You could make an Italian omelet. Kind of look like little pizzas, don't they? And then we'll add our nice little mushrooms. You could add some spinach. Be yum and healthy. Okay, so we're gonna let those cook up, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's time to flip it. Okay, so my omelet has cooked about 5 minutes. I wanna make sure everything's nice and solidified before I go ahead and flip it on its side. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our omelet and just kind of flip it over like you would a normal omelet. And you can see how much this really looks like an omelet. I'm just gonna let this cook for a few minutes, and then I'm just gonna put it on a plate. Okay, so we're ready now. I'm gonna show you what this finished omelet looks like here. I'm just gonna put it on our plate. And there you have your beautiful breakfast omelet.